Hey guys, Pastor Charles here, and I'm excited to be with you during this Advent season. Here at Renew, we've been talking about what it means to be full of true joy during this Christmas season. I actually came up with this Advent series while I was recovering on my couch after eating an amazing Thanksgiving meal. And I'm sure I was the only one that went back for seconds, but as I was recovering in my turkey coma, I began to think to myself, reflecting on the holiday season, asking myself the question, what is it that we fill ourselves with during this holiday season? What is it that we gorge ourselves with, our time, our checkbooks? What is it we're feeding ourselves and filling ourselves with? So as I thought about that, I started realizing that we spend our time gorging ourselves and desiring things that come up empty in the end. They fall short. And so I don't want a fleeting happiness, and I know you don't either. I want to experience a true joy in the Lord that lasts forever. And so as I searched the scriptures, I started seeing more about how we could challenge ourselves this Christmas season to pursue and be full of joy. In Ephesians chapter 5, the Apostle Paul says, "Don't be full or drunk with wine, but rather be filled with the Holy Spirit." Now, wine could represent anything here. In fact, he says, don't be full of wine, for that's a debauchery, meaning that could be any excess of something that's not of the Lord, any passions or desires that aren't good for us. Don't be full of wine or things of this world, but rather be filled with the Holy Spirit. That's going to bring you true joy. Well, how do I pursue the Holy Spirit? How do I pursue being full of the Holy Spirit? Well, in the scriptures teach us that every believer that gives their life to Christ, God freely gives his Spirit to, and every believer receives the Holy Spirit, but the Holy Spirit doesn't always get all of us. Another way of saying this on the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus in Matthew chapter 5 says, "Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled," or satisfied. In essence, Jesus is saying, don't hunger and thirst for things of this world. Don't gorge yourself with trying to get into a little bit more debt or having a few more sugar cookies this Christmas season or what can I spend a little bit more time pursuing? He's saying hunger and thirst for the right things of God. That's what righteousness means, the right things of God. Even the psalmist says this in Psalm chapter 34, when he says, "Taste and see that the Lord is good." In a sense, the psalmist is challenging us to test God's ways. God's ways are better, God's ways are higher, and if you would just to taste and see his ways and not the earthly ways that ultimately leave you feeling sick and recovering, God's ways actually refill you and fill you with true joy. Paul challenges the church of Corinth in 1 Corinthians and says, you know what? No matter whether you eat or drink, whatever you do it all for the glory of God. And so I appreciate you hanging in there with that play on words or play on verses that ultimately, if we want to pursue true joy, we don't need to be drunk with wine. We need to be full of the Holy Spirit. We don't need to hunger and thirst for the things of this world. We should hunger and thirst for the right things of God. And we should taste and see that he is good and his ways are so much better for us. And ultimately, whether we eat or drink or whatever we do, it should all be for his glory so that we would look more like him. So that's how we're going to pursue true joy this Christmas season. And I appreciate you hanging in for this Advent series. I can't wait to talk with you more next week.